Greetings, I'm Liz.
And I'm Scandal.
And let's play a game together. So we are continuing our jaunt into Julian. We're into chapter 3.
With Doc Talk.
Doc Talk.
Doc Talk.
It is the Doc Talk.
Alright, we're talking about whether or not he actually obtained a PhD. Let's find out!
So back at the time, they may not actually have had PhDs, and based on the
it.
stuffing herbs into, your plague doctor mask, they probably were still working with archaic medicinal standards.
With the four humors and the miasma belief. Which
yes.
is also still really strange, because it'd be like, dude, why don't you all just freaking use magic?
That's kind
Like,
of
I don't know what your magic can and can't do, but dang.
We know very, very little about the magic in here, and what's more frustrating is that since we are an apprentice to Asra, we know very little about what we're apprenting.
I know! I love apprenting. What I did is I just rolled you out and put the printing press over here. I'm printing you out.
I'm printing. That was the best way to verb it as I was saying it. You're an apprentice, you're clearly apprenting.
Lost Words, 12th edition, by Lies and Scandal.
By Lies, apprenting is a real word.
It must be, why wouldn't it be?
You can go Viking, just go apprenting.
I hope this doesn't get super surreal. I have to admit, I'm kind of paranoid since our last introduction to this, with us walking down the
into the shadow that was also the sky, that was just the trees, that was up to the mountains, that was back to the city, that was... Where did we go?
Alright,
here we are. Julian walks ahead of me in the sand, a tall black silhouette against the right shore. Hang on! Did we skip our entire conversation, our entire meal, all of our catching up, and we're now for our walk down by the beach after everything? So everything that we care about happened off-screen over there 10 minutes ago?
Uh-huh. Why are you asking this question? This sounds like the Arcana.
You don't actually care about learning about these characters or what their backstories are. What you care about is the smoochy smoochy.
Come here! I must have you.
Yeah, well, you're going to have to tell me your life story first.
No edge play!
Julian starts glitching out in front of you. Cannot talk it! Don't even know what it is. It's the Matrix sort of chittering and flashing out.
Right, okay.
Alright, so down on the rocky shore. I love the sound of the ocean. It's very nice. Your sound design is lovely in this game. Good job. Your visuals are still beautiful. By the way, we're just spiraling up into the void of the sky at the moment. It's great.
It's fine.
There's a tension to him that's been building all day. It feels like it's about to crash over both of us.
Has there been?
I thought we were the one that was tense and unhappy, and he was Nerd, are you okay?
Wait, I'm sorry, I've been a little selfish about that.
I actually might have scared the piss out of you by docking myself down onto the stage.
I'm really sorry.
In front of
right?
500 people and pretending to be myself.
Alright, no kidding.
Alright, are we... He just... Maybe he's bursting with trying to tell us what he keeps saying he'll tell us.
Hang on, I've got to pee.
Maybe that's it.
Oh, there's
the tension, an unknown tension. Excuse me, I need to go.
I really beg your pardon, I've got to go before I piss myself.
Alright. Oh, too much wine, is it? Too much meat, too much ale, too much...
Everybody here, it's fine.
It's fine. Shiny black boots stop at a rotting wood pier. All around us is silence, broken only by the sea.
Just his boots, they walk off his feet.
No. The boots stop there, but he's standing back here watching them. It's fine. Hi.
I told you I don't like magic much. It really sucks.
Someone's cursed my boots as well. They just keep walking off on their own.
How could you?
Asra, I can't keep track of my boots. You're just trying to direct me everywhere. Sometimes I gotta step right out of them to stay where I'm put. Right.
Very useless.
I'm just like, with no sound but the sea. But there's crickets. Can y'all hear the crickets? Hang on. No sound but the sea. I didn't know the sea sounded so much like crickets.
Anytime I've ever been to the beach in California or even on the East Coast, I've been there in Pennsylvania and Maine, and it's fine. I've never really heard crickets.
I have not heard crickets down by the beach either. So I was raised in California, and I didn't travel. I don't feel like I'm well-traveled or anything, but, my parents drug me around to places. And so I'm like, I've been to the beach at a couple of places. I've been to South Carolina, and I've been to the beach in Southern California, because that's where my dad lives. Right. And, I don't remember any crickets by the beach ever, so this is a little wild.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, the only one. I'm trying to remember there was one place maybe where I could kind of think of it.
Well,
the thing is usually when you have that, guess what you have? You have 90 billion mosquitoes about ready to wreck your shit.
Well, the nice thing is you don't have mosquitoes because they lay their eggs in water, and they can't lay their eggs in salt water.
I know, but I'm saying,
where you have crickets, you often have mosquitoes. I don't know. Anyway,
I think you would die.
I think crickets need fresh water, and that might be why, but someone can correct me on that if they are more of an entomologist than I am.
Yeah, right.
Eventually, Julian takes a deep breath, lips parting to speak as he stares out into the endless, fathomless sea. So are we really staring across the pier because we're just at the edge of it? Or like, are we at the front of it or down the pier? Like, are we on the shore or at the pier?
I think it's we stopped by the wooden pier. We didn't get on the pier. We stopped by the pier. Like, at least he stopped there. So we didn't move beyond him, as far as I know, because we're staring at his back in a very dramatic fashion with the moon silhouetting him extremely precisely. So all we can really just see is this massive...
this massive shape of
I am...
Batman. Batman, you might be.
He might be.
You might be.
Feel that breeze. A nice night for sailing and for the sound of the ocean to go away. Who the hell is playing the music?
Hang on, the ocean just stopped and a minstrel took over.
Whoa! Oh, it's the mermaid. Never mind.
Sound effects guy. Sorry, I played the wrong track. Hold on.
Oh, damn, my
Let me find the sea again. Hold on.
Oh, shit. Sea track.
I started my sleep music rather than quiet, calming sea. I apologize.
A nice night for a sailing, don't you think? Are we going to go out on the water? What the hell? Can we please actually have a conversation without you running the fuck off?
Also, if it's a night, maybe? Are we gonna go sailing? Who knows? He shakes his head, eyes dropping, plop. Just stare down at the
Eyes? Eyes.
My God, his eyes. Why does he have eyes again? He has an eye, then he has eyes, then he has an eye, then he has eyes. Okay, look, guys, somebody somewhere is going to be like, I can't stand your Let's Plays because you always nitpick the editing. Oh my God, not everyone writes perfectly. And myself, as a dyslexic, I have a hard time writing things clearly anyways and missing them, which is why it's important to have other people read and edit your work. So the suspension of disbelief is lost frequently in bad grammar. Like, there's a surprising amount of research done on how poor grammar and misspellings and things can pull people out of their suspension of disbelief. Because if they're into whole page reading or speed reading, or even if they're just a really immersive reader and they can read faster, especially than like I can, a dyslexic, that when they hit that word that's not supposed to be there, then it will trip up their whole experience of the story. So editing is really important.
Especially if they're going to tout themselves as we're trying to be professional here. This seems then... unprofessional, actually.
It does. And
unless
I know
you're really going to be saying, because we don't actually know, I am assuming he actually has an eye at this point as a result.
Because they keep going eye and eye is going, okay.
I think somebody wasn't paying attention hard enough, and they just... Yeah.
I don't know, like, if they're thinking of him in their head as having eyes, it would be harder, it'd be much easier to make that mistake. Mm-hmm. But if your character genuinely only has one eye, I don't think you're going to be making that mistake if you have a clear picture of who they are in your head. That's my thoughts on this. So I feel like they're spoiling it for us on this blind Let's Play, but enough about that. He shakes his head, eyes dropping dust, stare down at the dock. I'll catch his eyes for him, it's fine. Hand them back.
Listen, yeah. We really need to talk. And Nerd leans over and goes,
I know. That's what I keep saying. Forever. As I ask you to talk. As you keep asking me to talk. I bring out a pad of paper and a piece of like, charcoal so I can write it all down.
Yes, I was waiting for that. Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
We've needed to talk all day. I guess I was enjoying myself too much to take the plunge. I mean, it's actually been a couple of days, but sure, honey, you can believe that.
We've needed to talk since we met you, just so you know. Like, since you first broke into the shop. We've needed to talk, and that's been at least 3 or 4 days, given the somewhat, like, lightly ambiguous timeline. But since we seem to go to sleep every night, like, we're on, like, our 4th day at this point.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, you know, dude, it's well overdue.
Mm-hmm.
What's wrong? I had fun today, too. Yeah, so, you know what? It's time to talk, so we should be saying continue, or proceed, or go ahead, or I'm listening.
Yeah, right, I'm here.
Or it is time. We're going, it's about time. You know what? I've had a great day too. Both of us dodging this inevitable problem that we've been facing.
Except why I would dodge it is way beyond me, but okay.
Alright, what's wrong? What's wrong? Are you afraid I'm actually going to turn you into the gallows, which is what I've been hired to do?
Right? Lots of things. Too many to count. It was a bit of a funny for the crowd at home.
Oh my God.
Give me a number and I'll tell you it's too low.
Because you only killed one count, so the number might be 1.
I was about to say, though, he's clearly, though, going, but you see, I'm basically a half, the glass is half empty kind of person.
I am an unacceptable, disreputable, despicable fiend. I'll never be good enough for anyone, especially you, who I've, glorified everywhere. All right, let me give you a number. How about 3? 1, you don't communicate. 2, you don't remember. 3, you won't find out. Those might be the only things wrong with you.
As far as we have so far at all.
Because those are very large categories, and they might cover the rest of your damn problems.
And you might shit on yourself, possibly, of going, but I should be a doctor, I should be saving people. But if we're actually right in the fact that this technology here seems to be wildly inconsistent, and you probably have killed a lot of people,
Who knows?
I don't know.
Or allowed them to die, or not been able to save them. Does this fluffy little lock of hair by his ear really look like a sideburn?
Is that a sideburn? I was like, I'm like, who are you people? I'm like, you clearly have never had like little floofles next to the side of your ears before. Like, damn.
Or maybe they're just describing the hair that falls by your ear as a sideburn, and they don't know what mutton chops on a beard are.
I know.
Maybe they don't know what sideburns are.
Right?
Or maybe the terms evolved that I'm unaware. I could be behind the times.
Oh no, that's never happened.
Nope, I'm never out of date ever.
I've done the calculations of every possibility, run through the scenario in my head over and over.
By myself in a void without including any other people, despite the many people I interact with regularly. So clearly, since I've done it all by myself with getting in no other minds or information ever, I've come to every conclusion that's possible.
And then wildly I've wondered why I've been so distressed. It seems very strange, really.
Why I feel so isolated, even though I only ever consult myself.
There's only one way I could see this whole thing playing out. It's not a happy ending. Trust me.
You see, eventually I'll have to go back to, Asra with you, and he'll be like, I hated you, we broke up really bad, and you should be hanging on the gallows, because I won't investigate this either.
Because I have too many feelings, or something like that.
Actually, you know what? The only way it can play out is that you'll live in Asra and I's basement forever. That's what this'll be.
Oh, that could turn into an interesting throuple.
Oh dear.
Is it best to cut things off at the pass? To spare you the trouble of a tragic ending? You smartass! I was supposed to be investigating you to kill you! So yes, I already know this! What the hell are you talking about? You can't
spare me a tragic ending if I'm the one that literally gets to dictate whether or not you get turned in, since I'm supposed to be investigating, which I'm not doing. I'm kind of just hanging out with you and being towed along.
Right?
He still won't look at me. If anything, it looks like he wants to run away. Down the pier, into the water, sploosh! Ha! Goodbye!
I don't have feelings!
It's okay, I'll use my cloak as a flotation device!
He gets on the back
like a boat, yes! I'll use it like a paddle board.
All right.
Fine. I think back to this morning and waking up with Julian gone. The empty ache in my chest.
Because I've really gotten to attach to him in this amount of time. That's ridiculous. When he won't even tell me any information. He really won't communicate with me. I don't know what the hell is going on. And honestly, yeah, I would probably feel really bad though, going like, I'm supposed to find out who you are. Or actually not even that. I'm just supposed to bring you in and get you killed.
I've also stopped
I would feel terrible.
Right?
Like, this is an extreme situation of going, this feels like a massive imbalance of power. Hi, by the way, if I have you and I have the potential control to call people on you, I could just get you killed at any point. You don't make me happy, but I'm not telling you that. So I'm like holding this extreme amount of power over your damn head.
So this feels very like a pop culture detective kind of trope. If you don't know pop culture detective, they're a great YouTuber, do long video essays that we both love, mostly about masculinity and basically toxic masculinity and things there. So what we've got going on here is Nerd is holding all the power. So in case you haven't been along this journey, Nerd is our character's name, so us. We are holding all the power where at any point we can turn him in. So if we wanted him to do absolutely anything, we could hold us over his head. We could force him into a corner. We could say do whatever we want and threaten him with death at any point. Mm-hmm. And that is an unequal balance of power, like ridiculous. Like we're playing submissive here. We're being written as submissive and passive to him dragging us around. But really, we're holding all the cards where his life is concerned, and it's deeply uncomfortable.
It kind of is, actually.
You weren't going to get breakfast this morning, were you?
No, I wasn't. I may have panicked a bit. I never would have just let you, though, even though I wanted to.
Even if I wanted to.
Oh, even if I wanted to. So the thing is basically, he's basically already fallen head over heels in love with us.
Or he has a very strong artificial attachment to us based on his stress and anxiety right now in his state of danger.
Which, though, could easily take advantage of him as well. Like, in some ways, you really could write this as you just would take advantage of him.
He's in a compromised state, and we hold all the cards. And so...
And in some ways, I think almost you could be like, he kind of might know that, or he's expecting that. Because maybe he just wants to kill himself literally by using us, which sounds terrible.
He could be like, I'm worthless, I can't understand this, I can't figure anything out. Eventually, even if you don't turn me in, the only answer is that I'm going to turn myself in. So if you ever get attached to me, the only end is sadness.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't want to leave, that is. Well, I just don't see how else this thing can go.
Yeah, well, you gotta talk to other people, my dude. Julian drops down to sit at the edge of the pier, feet dangling over the water. The heels of his boots skim the surface. That's a low pier, or the tide is super in.
Or he is made of leg.
He is it's all of those
He's
things.
Spike Spiegel. Just so you all know, he is Spike Spiegel made of leg with David Bowie.
I sit next to him, our shoulders bumping together.
That's like, I will companion you, come on.
Bunk. He leans towards my touch, like he craves it.
Well, yeah, he's terrified he's gonna die. He's also terrified he's a monster.
He also thinks he is a horrible person. So we've referenced Poirot before, and there's an episode of Poirot where somebody gets framed for murder and they cannot remember whether or not they've done it, and that feels like this.
Yeah, that kind of does.
And so they're basically like, I've got to turn myself in because I must have done it because it happened.
Mm-hmm.
All right. After a quiet moment, he lifts his hand and points to an island, black against the night sky on the water's horizon.
See that island? It's called the Lazarette. That's where the city sent their infected during the height of the plague. Oh, so we're having the Hawaiian, having the Hawaiian leprosy.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, the Hawaiian leprosy colonies. Did you not know that?
I did not know
So
about
a lot of
those.
the leper colonies, so historically within the United States, were actually situated on Hawaii, of all places. And it was actually kind of terrible. But that was where you would go because you were sick.
Gonna die.
But at the time, they didn't know what was going on. And it was also, I was just like, there's a lot of bad shit with Hawaii. Thank you, United States, for taking over people and
It's
removing.
fine.
It's
We've
fine.
appropriated so much land from so many people.
It's fine. We haven't gone that far away from our European roots at all, have we?
It's fine. All right.
A perfect monument to my failures. Always visible from the shore. Always reminding the city of how much it suffered. Because I wouldn't frickin' tell them how to frickin' wash their hands. Because that was actually one of the things that really helps people who have leprosy, is making yourself clean.
Except for, we're not talking about leprosy, we're talking about the plague.
I know.
I would say, but spreading any disease is helped by a lot of a high level of cleanliness and self-protection.
Mm-hmm.
Wearing gloves is not a bad idea, providing you bathe frequently.
Quite.
However, he did mention we used to wear those. Like with the plague mask in the last episode, he said we used to wear these. I'm like, how many doctors were there?
I know.
Why are you taking the weight for all of the failures ever? Were you the only doctor in the entire city?
That seems ridiculous.
And you're going, we, the type of doctor that exists across the world, but you can't be blamed with the lives and care of every single person. Even doctors have people supporting them. You should have had a staff of like nurses and support people and care people, let alone there should have been other doctors if it is an entire thriving, bustling city.
Let alone potentially you would have possibly been looking for other resources, such as basically which doctors would, what they possibly could have called them, people on the side who are like, I just have this information, these are the people that will come to me, because they won't come to basically the royal doctors because y'all are weird.
And do they have royal doctors? If you were the royal doctor working in the palace, where are the layman doctors?
No kidding.
Like, you're acting like this is all on you. You've turned into All Might. You are the only one responsible.
No kidding. Every death, everybody burnt in those pits is another mark against me. And there are so many marks.
He really is. He blames himself for everything.
That seems ridiculous. Again, I'm like, did you not have any friends other than Asra, who it seems like you had a terrible relationship breakup with? I'm like, this seems like a very isolated person, and it doesn't make sense logistically of going, I have only one doctor in this entire freaking city.
Additionally, everywhere I go that people see me, they love me and want to care about me. And, Mazalinka cares about me. My sister cares about me. People at, the Raven Tavern, they really are friendly to me and care about me. Yeah, they might be also trying to, say a big ol' up yours to the royalty, which they're frustrated with, but at the same time, they're not harboring you if you're a jerk that they hate.
Yeah, no kidding. They seem to genuinely like you as a person. Now, I know that doesn't necessarily mean that when people are in a dark place, they're really going to be paying attention to that, because sometimes it doesn't matter. It's about your perception of yourself. But I'm like, really? Anyway, I don't want to drag this out, nerd. This, whatever it was, whatever it could have been, it has to end. Before it's too late for you.
Why? Do you think I'm going to get hung by association?
I'm only going to end up hurting you somehow. Know it.
You just think you hurt everything you touch. I don't seem to be afraid of pain, because I didn't freak out when the eel bit me, but I don't want to acknowledge that, yes, you will hurt me, but I'm not afraid of that. I would rather suggest that I am strong enough and that you're not necessarily inherently dangerous, that you don't have to hurt me.
Right?
That would be my thoughts going on this. If I say I'm not afraid of pain, it's acknowledging, yeah, sure, you hurt everything you touch, but I can handle it.
Right?
That can be a subtle negative affirmation.
You're going, yeah, you do cause pain, but it's okay. I'm not afraid of it.
And so even though it might not be really obvious in the language, saying that I'm not afraid of pain confirms their self-deprecation of I hurt everything.
Right?
And I'm not ready to do that. You won't hurt me. You won't hurt me.
Nerd. Dear nerd. You're too kind. I will absolutely hurt you.
Apparently I'll hurt you too, because of eels.
It's only a matter of time. So I do, It's what I've always done. I'll be the first to admit my faults, And there are many. They might be extremely overly projected and I might be way too sensitive to them and I'm not listening to all the people around me because I wish to hurt myself. But you know, damn it, I lose myself. And maybe this is the real me. Someone who hurts. Failure.
I want to just be awed right now, going, that's the most words you've ever strung together in front of me ever.
Wow. I know that's really cheap, but it's like, it has actually been really frustrating going with this character going, he will not talk. He's also still not saying much anyway. He's not explaining the past or the whatever happened in regards to what was going on at the palace.
I've explored every option. What were those, sir? Good sir, what have you explored?
Like, I would like to know, what options have you explored? What? Well, I explored every option. No, you need to be clear. Like, that's actually a thing to do in your real life when people just go off going, I've done everything. Going, all right, cool. What have you actually tried?
What does everything entail?
Because everything is actually a really large category. Because I would also be like, sometimes when people go, I've done everything. You're like, well, clearly you're not dead, so you haven't tried everything.
You also aren't living in China. You haven't married 16 Sherpas. You don't own 47 chameleons. You aren't under the ocean scuba diving. You haven't done everything.
Like, really?
Really? You haven't got Julian's haircut and look more stylish and emo than anyone.
I also didn't get your jacket starched to hell and high heaven all the way backwards. I don't know if I killed the Count, but I know I could have. I know I have that darkness inside me. But the thing is that, so what people I feel like misunderstand all the time, and this is interesting, you're going, your thoughts do not inform as to what kind of person you choose to be. Because you can think about something, but it's your reaction to them is what actually defines you as who you are. It's the thing about intrusive thoughts. Intrusive thoughts are random. They're not a thing that control you. People have random urges all the time, but it doesn't mean you actually want to do it or are willing to go through with it.
Additionally, and basically to that point and to that reality, it is really important to understand that just because your mind came up with an idea, your mind is coming up, putting things together algorithmically and formulaically all the time. Your mind is very curious and will keep coming up with things.
Yeah.
Just because a thought has entered your head, either by external stimulus, I saw this thing and I made an extrapolation, or just while you're doing something unrelated, does not mean that's who you are. You can go, but I'm always thinking about this thing. Well, maybe it's in your environment being stimulated to you over and over again, or maybe you have an attachment to it because you can't understand it.
Right.
But the thing is until you do something, it's not who you are. There is no such thing as thought crime.
Right.
And I refuse to ever allow it.
Well, see, and that's the thing that I've always thought is very disturbing, actually, in some ways, where I've ever been taught that if you think it, you do it. Which is so toxic and so dangerous, because then people basically start doubting themselves. They will also then think more aggressively about things that they think is inappropriate, and then go, but I'm committing these crimes all the time, I'm doing this thing all the time.
And what it comes around to, ultimately, is if you tell someone you've thought it, you've already done it, there's no reason for them to then choose not to do it, if thinking it and doing it are exactly the same thing.
I know, you don't encourage anybody to actually try to do it.
I've already killed them because it crossed my mind briefly at one point, therefore, I've already been as sinful as I could ever be as if I did kill them.
So it's fine, I'll just go kill them, it's fine.
Sinful used loosely there, not as a moral weight necessarily.
In the context at least of obviously a Christian background is what I'm talking about here, but isn't that enough to damn me?
Only if you're leaking. None of the reasons he's given for me so far have anything to do with our relationship. Why am I thinking about our relationship instead of the fact that his life hangs in the balance?
What?
I'm dangerous, I'll hurt you, I don't know what I've done, you deserve better. So, those are all valid things, but none of those are proven or founded things, and I feel like as a character we've just jumped off the deep end going, the rest of all of the story of reality doesn't exist. All I care about is my relationship to you, which we haven't built and haven't established, so none of them tell me how he feels about me. I know it hasn't been that long, but I don't need to know how he feels about me. I need to know how to keep him safe first.
I know, I'm like, right now we have gone off the,
we have stopped caring about any of his, basically his future, his destiny, or his experience in reference to his actual physical safety, and we're just going, but I have the feels, you should tell me how you feel. Why would we do that? Oh my god, those are the only options?
I guess the thing is that what you could make an argument for going where I need to establish a boundary with you. Do you want me? Is this what this is about?
And if you did it from that direction, not going, do you want me, but went, do you want me? Is that your problem? The problem you're having interacting with me here is that you actually want me in reference to something bigger than we're hanging out together and I'm trying not to get you killed? And subtly investigating you somehow?
Well, and the thing is also going, I know some people say that's ridiculous to go and ask, going, it's obvious, but it's like, it's really important in any relationship of going, what are we doing?
And going, if I ask, do you want me? The thing is it can be taken in the, but do you want me kind of way, or it can be like, is this complicated? You're having a hard time being around me because you see your death hanging over you, and the reason you feel uncomfortable hanging around me is because you want me. Those are two very different things of me asking, but don't you want me, versus, is it making things hard because you want me?
Like, in going, you feel that if...
And
like,
which question are we asking?
Right? Unfortunately, I feel like I know where this game is going, so...
Because there are no rails on this
I'm
wharf.
also, like, kneeling like this. So you have to, like...
He has to project himself, or like...
He's turned into the cat that jumped on the ceiling.
Like if he's just sitting with his legs dangling over the edge, nearly falling forward, that's impressive. Especially given his height, like he'd be sitting pretty far back with those thighs. Unless he's really like butt on the edge kind of thing.
Oh, we're having symbolism. His ass is on the edge.
Oh, God.
I'm confronting you with the fact that you are not being clear with me at all. Thank you,
about anything.
Dorcas.
And since this is the only option I have to actually get any questions answered, and fine, I'll leave sounds so pissy and immature of, well, I didn't ask you anything, but you're not telling me anything, and you say that you're dangerous for me, so fine, I'll leave. That sounds...
that also, though, could be a good way to establish going, we were going to have a conversation, and now you're just going off about all stuff and going, you know what, fine, I'll leave. I've had enough. Like, we've tried again and again and again to have a conversation, but that's a longer statement, obviously.
Again, then fine, I'll leave. You could be like, hey, if you're not ready to talk about it, or if you don't want to be close, like, if you don't want to be around each other anymore, then I should leave. But at this point, if I stay with him for one more night, that's 2 full nights where nobody has heard from me at all, and they should really be looking for me and concerned at this point.
We're gonna die. We're gonna get him killed. Wait, we're
not together.
We're not together. What?
Some people can break up a friendship or an acquaintance. It doesn't have to be a dating.
But the thing is we never really established that we were even friends.
I know.
This is what's killing me. So we're breaking up a thing that we never explicitly had. I understand that people go, but implicit. I'm like, implicit, though, has been used so much to abuse people and hurt people. It's actually really good, again, like I said, to establish boundaries. Where are we?
Implicit understandings lead to hurt feelings when you finally realize, because something happens, that one of you understood something differently.
Now, I'm not saying that things can't change, and sometimes things change unexpectedly and without communication, but I think it's good to try to emphasize trying to do that.
Oh, hey, here we go.
Hey.
One night. Okay, so that's nice. Hey, props to the game makers.
No kidding.
Yes, into the sea, fling!
Eat me! Put in! We are freaking supposed to be investigating you to get you killed. We're supposed to find you, to drag you back to Nadia, to get you hung. Like, why aren't we saying, like, I'm still bothering.
Why aren't we communicating that is what our story is right now? We, the main character, have been taken on by Nadia the Countess to investigate the murder of her husband and find this individual, because the investigation isn't to investigate his guilt, it is to find him. We're only supposed to investigate to acquire his location and then take him back to be hung celebratorily before she throws a giant ball.
That's it.
That is what we're doing. Why wouldn't we tell him? I feel like this is going to be one of those reveals where he's hanging out with us and being like, this is fascinating. I've kind of met Asra's apprentice. We're kind of making a connection. My life is shit, but this is kind of fun and cool. And this feels like a good, safe space. And then this is going to be one of those reveals where we go, well, I have to reveal that I was hired to, turn you in. And then he's going to be like, what?
Or, I hate to say this, maybe we're thinking too hard about this and we might be giving the writers a little bit too much credit.
No, I was going to say, but that's the only direction it could be going, is going, now we're going to betray his trust because we never told him what we're freaking doing.
I know, but I can't imagine also that an Otome dating game is going to take your love interest and then kill them. I hate to say it.
I hope not.
Actually, it does. That's immediately dismissing your value and your worth as a person. What do you want?
Additionally, if I care what you want, you're dismissing my value of what you want. So when somebody says, wow, I really think this is important, and you go, no, it's not. You're not saying it's not important to me. You're saying it's not important to both of you. You're dismissing their interest.
Right?
You keep being pushy. How come he hasn't done chin hands on his knees on the dock yet? He hasn't done chin hands for a while.
Well, that's again where I'm like
leaning down onto his knees with his elbows, and then he stopped.
I think
I miss it.
I kind of miss it too, but I think you're probably right in the sense of he's probably got basically his butt on the very edge.
And then
unlike the fact that I'd be like, why would you do that? I would want you to have like your knees all the way back, and then you could actually do it. Just kind of being like,
yep, that would be very cute.
It'd be very cute. There's nothing weak about you. What?
Anything that you keep describing yourself as, we have no connection to.
I don't
and
know what
you're
talking
leaving us out. You're leaving the player out and also our character out.
But also, I'm going, this sounds a lot like artificial drama. Again, it just
feels
is
weird. And is it complicating your relationship with me and the fact that I
want him to look more torn. That looks too...
that's
not defeating. Yeah, I know. I'm like, that seems like a very inappropriate face, actually. So, about, like, writer /
emotional dissonance between the dialogue and the visuals. Huh?
That also could be, again, we're reading this very differently, which I'm enjoying, but I'm gonna critique you anyway.
I wouldn't know how to get to the experience where he has that face and says, I want you, based on the drama we've just come through.
I know!
So, if someone else can get there, good for them, because I'm
proud. I do not want it. I haven't been able to talk to you about anything in my practice or in my hobbies or interests or things that I like. We haven't really been established very well as friends.
I haven't asked you any questions about yourself.
I'm also going to be dying in a while.
You haven't asked me anything about myself or who I am or what I care about or what I do at all.
You just seem to assume that I'm basically Asra 2.0.
I have so many of Astra's mannerisms that you just feel so familiar with me.
That actually could be a really weird sense of meta and kind of terrifying, actually, when you place it like that, going like, I'm Astra's apprentice. If I have been around him, I have learned everything that I know about him. What you're attracted to is actually your ex, and not me.
Yep.
Actually, it seems like Mazalinka did that pretty well.
You also
she kind of beat you over the head.
You seem like a very chill person, but you also seem like you can be shoved into a corner very easily.
Uh-huh. The question is why are you here to begin with? So you didn't come here for us.
Right, what did you come back to the city for? If you ran away when you were supposedly the murderer of the Count, 1, where did you go? And 2, why did you come back? You didn't come back to meet us, you came back looking for Asra, as far as we can tell.
Right.
And then something else happened, and you didn't ever pursue again trying to find Asra. Also, I was going to point out that we've stopped dreaming about Asra, which is kind of like, what happened to that? And aren't we concerned where he is at this point?
Right.
Just based on the prologue? I don't
know.
This is all about you. You're really inside your own head without me. Dude.
This doesn't sound like a relationship. This sounds like you having an emo experience. I'm not meaning to belittle it, but it really is kind of frustrating going, this is really just all about you.
This is you, inside yourself, by yourself. Again, you've looked at every path by yourself. You've considered everything by yourself. You can see where it would go by yourself. You don't let anybody in at all. And there are people that don't let anybody in at all. But again, that's taking away all the power and agency and connectivity from somebody else who is there. And I am there! Hands on, elbows on knees, elbows on knees.
But also, I'm like him trying to hide inside his clothes.
Trying to hide himself.
And there's this little bat wing. He just stuck out from the side.
He just makes
like sort of knocks us over as he tries to pull it over.
He just makes a tent around himself with his cloak. Folds himself into a teepee.
If I had the Transylvanian accent, I would do it, but I don't. I don't know shit about you!
So you say, but we don't know. Unless, of course, you didn't actually kill anybody, and you can be exonerated, and we actually are interested in each other romantically, and we go that direction. Yeah!
You tuna?
There's so much assumption here.
Dumbass.
Oh my god. Let's pretend like you don't have any problems and ignore them all together. You know what? In Lily's garden, we might be avoiding all our problems, but in here, face them head on.
Do it!
Do you want to live, or do you think you should die by nature?
I'm also like... You're
People.
talking about all this bullshit you need to explain. Like, you keep going, all these things that I talked about. What do you actually... Stop talking in theoreticals. Give me some concrete stuff you've actually thought about.
Who are you? What do you want? What is the point of all this? I want an illustration of the dock and, like, the ocean badly. I really do want to see...
That would be really cute.
I want to see, like, even just the boots above the water kind of thing.
That would be cute.
That would be very cute. Except for clearly it matters to me.
And also it clearly matters to you, too, actually. What are you actually seeing, smartass?
And you're not even sharing what you think it all is. I assume you mean the gallows, but I don't even actually know that.
That is very accurate.
You are.
You are literally so self-obsessed.
Self-centered. Like, you're very, very self-focused.
Like, damn.
You cannot see. You've got so much trauma and so much discomfort that you cannot see outside of yourself. Do you know that low self-esteem makes one self-centered because they relate everything to how
themselves.
bad they are?
Yeah.
So while someone might be like, you can't be self-centered, you have low self-esteem. To relate everything to yourself negatively, you have to relate everything to yourself, which means you are being self-centered. You're not acknowledging other people's feelings, emotions, and actions because no matter what they say or do, you take it all and spin it negatively or as inconsequential, which means it's all still about you.
Because of capitalism.
Clearly he's suffering from capitalism methods. Also going, when you were away for years, were you having bad experiences there? Did you go and try to doctor somewhere else for like 5 or 6 years?
Your butt
and fail there too? Did you try and take on another profession and you're like, you know what? I was terrible as a pole dancer and so it sucked. As a stripper, I couldn't make a living either, so I've just got no use at all.
I was the most unhappy. I got wedgies every night.
I just couldn't stand selling my body like that. It just was emotionally draining.
Which is fine. I don't mean to make fun of sex work, but
I don't either at all, actually. And that is a good point on Scandal's point. The intention is not to mock sex work here. It is to throw back to a ridiculous joke that we made in the last episode and just relate it to how ridiculous he's being right now.
Quite.
But if you don't get it, it's because you died, so maybe hope would be great. Picture yourself getting anything you actually want. Try and be positive for 2 seconds. Imagine what could happen if something went well, which is actually a good life coach practice, a good counseling practice. Role play if it went positively. Imagine if it went positively, and don't just go, well, here's me hurting myself because it clearly won't happen. Just try. Maybe I want to hear that you aren't just resigned to dying. Okay.
I mean, being there, honestly, sometimes is really important. I know it's so frustrating, so I have totally been there, and I know Liza's been there. We've done this also for each other, where you're like, I don't know what to do.
So I'm
we're taught so much to go, you need to do something, you have to do something. Sometimes really just being present is
all
enough.
you need to do. Dropping the cards and finding them over and over again. Playing 52 pickup with the Arcana.
Messing with the chickens all day. Throwing my cloak everywhere.
Weighing the ingredients in the tiny scales, gram by gram. Sweeping up the shop. I could be your shop husband.
I would love to be a shop husband. It would make me happy. I'm happy to hear you actually freaking care about your sister for once.
Really
like, God damn it, it
sweet.
took you forever.
That is probably the most endearing thing about him so far. Honestly, you care about your sister, and that's very sweet. I mean, apparently I can have Tasha. She's got a root.
I don't. My dude, my bro, I hate to tell you, but I can seduce your sister.
I could date your sister, too. Oh, God.
It's so tasteless, but it's fine.
It's very tasteless. What? I'm never tasteless.
Are you taking over my job now? Except you don't know that. Oh my God, we've literally talked about nothing.
You know nothing about us before I got here unless you were stalking us. Asra was writing you letters. So, in today, my apprentice nerd did such and such the other. I'm deeply proud of him. I know we had a poor history in the past, but you know, this letter writing has created an appropriate space of distance between us where we can reconcile things and become finally just friends. Now let me babble on about nerd.
This is really fucking weird. You'll be fine after.
Reading months of letters from Asra, years of letters from Asra about you and how great you are. It's just made me fall in love with you from a distance.
Honestly, that could be very interesting, sort of creepy, but also I could see how you could turn it to be like, kind of charming, but also really creepy.
I hear about you constantly, like a friend that won't shut up about how great their,
my new toy is.
Or about just how great this friend they have is. So much so that you're like, why aren't you dating that friend? Why isn't everyone dating that friend?
And then I showed up, and you were dating Asra, and I thought, oh my God!
How
Asra's an idiot! I'm gonna do it!
He's not dating you, and suddenly now that you're single and he's an idiot, I'm really attached now. How all the feels. So you assume, sir?
You have no idea. He's a plague doctor.
Sorry, I'm fine. What things that plague him? The count. You cannot count my sins. They plague me.
I mean, the only home, honey bun, that we can go to is Nady. Anyway, I'll walk you home.
So you're supposed to walk us back to the castle now? Because if you walk us... oh, that'd be great. Also, if you
cuff me.
If you walk us back to the shop, there's a high likelihood guards could be there. Someone could be... Maybe Nerd will come back to the shop. We should stand someone on watch. Nerd seems lost. That'd be appropriate. You have someone waiting back at the castle, someone waiting back at the shop, and also people looking, because I've gone AWOL. And we're back to the waterfall. We always come back to this street. It's just one street where our entire life has happened.
Why, this looks really familiar.
Julian slides his hands in his pocket as he leads me off the beach and back into town. And I'm just complacent. Go with him. I love that you never get up, Nerd. You keep pushing, except for I just give up all the time and I just let you leave.
Constantly. It seems very silly. I've said the conversation's over, and therefore the conversation is over. Yeah, you're right.
Yep, I will possibly agree with you. I don't know how to comfort you, so I won't interrupt because comfort is the only option, not pushing some other direction or demanding answers or going,
look, what were you actually
You're not
about?
admitting that your life is on the goddamn line here. You're just alluding to it with, you can't provide me happiness because it can only end badly. And so...
As if you don't deserve to be happy, even if it were possible that you did kill the Count and you don't get, absolved of, the guilt.
Even if you do die on the gallows, are you saying that someone who is terminal does not deserve love?
Yeah.
That is what you are saying, sir, and that might be a heavy statement, but going, if someone has a short time to live, they don't deserve love and human connection. Especially not new love and human connection.
Well, you'll hurt them. However, they will still have loved them.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're a cancer patient. I can't be your friend. You don't deserve love and attention and connection now that you're dying, because we know you're going to die. Following that to its conclusion is very dark. Every so often, he opens his mouth to say something, then makes a face and closes it again.
Sorry, I keep farting.
I want to say excuse me, but I don't want you to know.
Damn.
Eventually we reach the shop, and Julian turns to me with a note of finality in his voice.
Well, here we are, at your shop.
You mean where I felt you up? Because that'll lighten the mood?
In the doorway?
In the doorway?
Into the line.
Not if you come inside, it's not. Oh.
When I came to Vesuvia, I was seeking answers. Finding you...
So you were looking for answers, and then you failed to investigate and find the answers?
Was a rare treat.
He reaches out, hand hovering over my shoulder, unsure whether he's allowed to touch me anymore, given that he's said he won't do it. Then he shakes his head and leans forward to press a kiss on each cheek, lips lingering just a second longer. This is it. We don't get to actually have any agency in this game, do we?
No, pretty much.
Like, this is the end.
That's fine. Thank you, my dear. The time we spent together, however brief, mattered to me.
How come we don't get to say anything? This seems like a time you'd want choices. This seems like choosing my own adventure. This is why I want to choose.
And the lack of choices is... Your lack of choices is disturbing.
Yes.
I won't forget it.
It also seems like a lot of punishment of, we will drag you through this for like scene after scene after scene of you having no choice at all. Or maybe the only other choices were what we did on the dock. Is there's one of those options that lets you make him stay or something?
I don't know.
With a whirl of his cape.
Tonk!
The starch cape.
It flings. Have you ever taken that? Like taking a really hard object.
Like a frisbee, and you spin it. So he takes off his cape, hooks it on his arm, and spins it around.
With a whirl of his cape.
He's gone. Footsteps echoing down the side streets and fading away too.
Voila.
And we go into the shop instead of going back to the castle. Again.
Hi.
So, at this point, I've decided that the Countess has no care about our agent, where we've gone, what we've done. We've been missing for almost 2 days. And, because we left early in the morning.
We did.
Yesterday.
After we saw,
And now it's in the night tonight. After we saw Portia in the garden.
Yeah, I'm like,
after
not Portia, it's Portia.
It's Portia.
I was having a time going, which one
The
is
shop
it?
smells like cinnamon when I walk inside, a thin trail of steam wafting down from the upstairs. Oh, Asra's home.
Is Asra back?
Every lantern is already lit, casting the shop in warm, flickering light,
Well,
which I would have seen from outside, and gone, you came for answers? Astra's here! Come inside!
Immediately! Let's do it!
Oh my god, that would have been my first thing. Like, if I'd have had a choice, be like, look, there are lights in the shop windows. Dear God, Julian, come indoors! You can get the answers you were seeking. Asra pokes his fluffy head down the stairwell, grinning broadly when he sees me standing there.
Brightly.
Does that mean... Brightly. Does that mean he's supposed to have sideburns, too? Is that what that's
By
supposed to be
that
instead
logic,
of fluff?
yes. Back from your jaunt to the palace. Welcome home, nerd. I recognize that look. What happened?
I don't want to talk about it. Julian left...
What?
One of those dismisses him completely after, oh my God, you're back, and we didn't say anything. And the second one goes, is so much lack of context that I can't even... Julian left me. You should know that Julian was here. He was looking for you. He didn't find you. He and I had an awkward experience together where we couldn't figure out what we were doing with each other. I failed at a job the Countess hired before. I don't know if I was dreaming about you or actually communicating with you over distance, and I'm really confused, my master. Could you help me? I mean, all of that in the words of somebody who knows me very well, hearing me say it when I say, Julian left me.
He... did? You two were... Hang on. You don't know that we know this person. What the... What?
Which is why you're going, you two knew each other? You two were... Hi.
Incommunicado?
Mm-hmm.
Want to come upstairs and talk about it? I made that tea you like. You look like you could use it.
There we are. I nod, words failing me as I think about Julian. Does he have someone to talk to? Will Mazalinka help him? Can Portia do anything for him? Can I communicate between any of these people at all and help him? I've done nothing. He shouldn't have to face his darkness alone. You mean his murder charge?
Yeah, right.
Or are we talking about his self-esteem?
Right? I'm like, which one? Which one?
Honestly?
Which one do you want to fix?
When you get to the experience of death versus self-care, well, I might die, but I improved your self-esteem beforehand. You should deal with the death first.
Probably. Like
really? You want to stop the death, and then you can help with the psychology.
I was about to say, life-threatening versus bad self-esteem.
Yes.
Like, in this point, because he doesn't sound necessarily like he's going to actually, like, physically try to kill himself. Like, so he's not suicidal in that sense.
He's not
but in the fact that there's a looming death that's there, you should solve the more obvious death threat first. Honestly?
I follow Asra up the stairs, settling down at our rickety kitchen table, and let out a deep sigh. I think it's adorable that they live together. Faust slithers onto the table and curls around the hot mug as Astra sets it down, looking pleased, and I go, Faust! I haven't seen you for days!
Faust.
Oh my God, I love you!
Love you. So, what happened?
Astra drops down to sit across from me, patiently waiting for me to speak. The story spills out of me like a dam bursting, until I've told Asra every single detail about the day's events.
And he wouldn't even tell me what he was trying to talk to...
And by that, I mean the last 4 days, and by that he was looking for you, but he's just given up on looking for you, and by that, I've been hired by the Countess to get, bring a man to justice, and by that, I'm way out of my depth. Also, I stole your cards and possibly left them at the palace, just so you know.
Oh, shit.
When I'm finished, he leans back in his chair, thumb running absent-mindedly over the rim of his mug. Faust.
Ooh, tea. That sounds like Ilya. It took an entire day, didn't it? Were you two even really together?
No. I don't really know. The answer is no.
The
We've
answer is
even
no.
established it that we weren't really together. It was stated plainly. So the answer is if we were listening to him, because he is part of whether or not we were together, because relationships require more than one person, is no. Why are we trying to muddle that? He said it plainly. We weren't ever really even together.
Like, that is genuinely what the experience was. Like, he said no. We've also been like, we weren't together? What the crap are you talking about? Like,
why did you curse him, by the way? Can I just ask why you cursed him? So when I explained the story about the biting eels, do you want to talk about that curse at all?
Yeah, please, the glowy neck throaty thingy-ma-boober?
That and also the bleeding and all of that, that'd be great.
That'd be helpful.
Cool,
Thanks.
I would like that.
The only thing he loves more than drama is his own suffering. And he's determined to chase both.
That sounds like him.
That kind of does.
What should I do? Yeah, no, it sounds like him. It does sound like him.
It does.
What should I do? His life is on the line. He doesn't remember things. He wouldn't even come for you for help. I wouldn't point out that clearly you were back because the lights were on and you can tell from the outside. I was just overwhelmed by everything and had very little choice for the last hour and a half of my life. Talk to me, Asra.
What do you want to do?
Have him not die, good sir.
That look in your eyes tells me you already know.
Except for it doesn't matter if I don't have any proof or evidence or conversations with anyone.
You want to go after him, right?
No, I want to save his butt.
I can't stop you. I just want you to be careful.
You're so wistful. Tell me what you know about him. Actually, you guys used to be friends. Hey, actually, by the way, forget the damn eels and the curse. Why did he have a key? Let's do that one.
Were you guys just sort of seeing each other on the side?
Had you been together and you broke up and he never gave the key back?
Because that's where I'm going.
Because that is the only explanation I've got. Well, I used to harbor him here as a criminal, and then I found out that I actually was pissed at him about something, or that his self-esteem was foundedly low because he was a jerk, so I cursed him to get him away from me, but the curse actually helps him be a better doctor. Except for what it was more like is, I cursed him to help him be a better doctor. He could take on their pain, and then they were healed, and that was the only way he could get better at doctoring.
Or maybe that was the only way he could access becoming better, is because then he could actually, like, I feel your pain.
I have punished myself appropriately now. I will self-flagellate on your misery.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, that sounds very Catholic. Who knows? Maybe you can shake him from his Ouroboros of self-flagellation.
There it is!
Oh my god, we were literally not looking at the screen. That's brilliant.
That's
Good
brilliant.
job.
Yes. Yay!
Yes.
Yes.
Unlikely, but stranger things have happened. Just don't hurt yourself in the process.
If I see him die as a punishment for a crime he doesn't even know if he committed, I will hurt, dear.
Oh, that reminds me.
You want to tell me why you had a key?
Do you still have the deck I left you? Nope, it's lost at Nadia's.
Nope, I left it at Nadia's.
I stuck it up my butt.
I actually just ate it so that no one would read the cards.
Right?
I missed you so bad. I sewed a tunic out of it so I could wear it. It's right here under my shirt.
Boy.
What? I nod, pulling the cards out of my pocket. They seem excited to be near Asra again. Like they missed him, which I would have felt in my pocket before pulling them out.
Starts vibrating. You're like, ooh.
Is that a deck in my pocket, or am I just really happy to see you?
Hello, Asra.
Hi.
I have a deck in my pocket that's very happy to see you.
Damn, dude. Also, why did we take the cards with us and we've had them with us for 2 days? Why did we... did we have them with us when we were at the desk studying Julian stuff?
I don't remember at all.
And then we just took them with us everywhere? I don't even know why we have them. I don't remember us having pockets for them in the clothes that Nadia dressed us in.
Hang on, that means we had them when we fell in the water.
It does.
How the hell are they not destroyed or hurt? Well, they're magic. No! There are some things you literally don't prepare for.
Why wouldn't we have mentioned that they were wet and we needed to dry them? And, we're trying to carefully peel them all apart afterwards? I mean, maybe they are, sealed in some sort of resin or something like that.
Or some sort of leather, pouch that, that
doesn't get much water into it, but damn, that seems... Yep, we totally have the Arcana on us and we fall into the water. We don't even think about the deck, let alone that we've been kept in the dark about much information so far. Would we know the deck was safe in the water? He passes his hand over them, and when he moves again, they've vanished from the table. Poof. A card trick. Poof.
It's great.
Tension ebbs from his shoulders, some shadow easing from his eyes. He looks relieved. I came home and I looked for them everywhere, and I thought they'd been stolen, and this is better.
Yeah. You're all right? Nothing strange happened with the deck?
I mean, I read a couple of fortunes.
Yeah, no kidding.
He shakes his head, hair falling into his eyes as he clears his thoughts. I mean, it was already in his eyes. There's not much more falling in.
Yeah, you really can't. You're home. I'll make us some dinner.
You're home as well.
Hello.
We didn't acknowledge that you're home. We didn't. We just came in being a mess. I walked to the door.
Julian!
A hot mess and vomited my problems on your feet.
Apparently.
Asra slides languidly to his feet and starts to clink around the kitchen, humming idly to himself. I stare down at the mug cupped between my hands, and Faust, left alone with my swirling thoughts. Left alone with my swirling thoughts and a curling snake.
That love goes ahead.
Whatever happened today, whatever will happen tomorrow, however this whole story plays out, I act like I'm not involved and it's out of my control, even though I'm a primary player in this, and I've actually got, a legal weight on my head to do something because somebody in charge of it has hired me to interact with it.
No kidding.
Somehow, I know I'm not done with Julian yet. Well, you see, you're not done with the Countess yet, and since she is the only thing tying you to Julian, as far as society is concerned, you'd better not be.
Holy crow.
And now we're downloading 8.5 megabytes. Well, that probably is a good place to wrap up this episode.
Yeah.
So, people, we had a lot of opinions about this, and it was very strange. It was lovely having you along. I'm sort of confused, but...
I am too, so I guess, this has been Scandal.
And I have been Lies. And it was great playing with you. Bye!